And we're live. TikTok live number 60. The recording started. Guys, top five listeners to the podcast on here on the live. I'm going to give you guys a shout out in the caption, okay? All right, let's get after it. Steve-O, what's up, man? Steve-O said, "What's up, bro? What's your week looking like ahead?" Dude, I got to present tomorrow morning at 7. I got to present Tuesday morning at 7. We have dinner Tuesday night, presentations, like lecture conference Tuesday night, and then Wednesday we have NICOP. That's like a pathology and big case presentation on Wednesday night. It's a busy week. It's a really busy couple of days, and it's already 9:18 right now, Sunday night. So I'm gonna be. I only have a little while because my phone's gonna die. Actually, it's at 17% already. But let's keep it going. Steve said, "What surgery was it?" Oh, I was just saying before I hit started on the record that yesterday I had tomorrow. I'm sorry, tomorrow I had a SARPI planned with the team, and it got rescheduled. It got rescheduled for reasons that, I mean, I guess it needed to be finished outside stuff before we could do the surgery, but what are you going to do? I don't know if it's going to go on my time. Hopefully it does on my time in this rotation, but I graduate in like 5 weeks. So if they reschedule it more than a month out, I might not get to do that surgery. And unfortunately, that's how it happens sometimes in residency. I can't tell you how many times, especially orthodontics, they got canceled or pushed back or rescheduled, or the patient wanted to get the braces off and not go through treatment. And I don't know. It's nothing you could do about it, you know? Lexi said, graduating from college next weekend. All right, Lexi, congrats. Well done. All right, let's go. That's good stuff. Congrats, Lexi. Afifa said, how can I tell if I have gum recession? Well, I mean, some people's gum lines are in different areas, but generally it's right around the CEJ, maybe a millimeter below the CEJ. CEJ is the cemento-enamel junction. That's the distinct, you can really see it, the difference between the crown of the tooth and the root of the tooth. The CEJ is right in between that. So when the gums are significantly below the CEJ, that's when you might be having signs of gum recession. I have gum recession on the sides. I was brushing way too hard at a young age because I thought it was going to make my teeth cleaner using the mechanical toothbrush, not a mechanical toothbrush, using just manual. I was brushing too hard as a kid, and I have a little bit of gum recession on the outsides on the buckle. What are you going to do, right? I have a little bit of tooth sensitivity, I think, from that, because the more root exposure you have, generally the more cementum that is exposed, and the cementum have big dental tubules, which causes a lot of sensitivity if you eat like hot colds or some things, for example. Tatiana Sampson. What's up, Tatiana? Hi, I'm a dental assistant, and I might want to become a surgeon. I have dyslexia. What would you recommend? Yeah, I mean, dyslexia, there are people with much, much more complicated conditions that go through and become surgeons. So that, I wouldn't worry about that. I would put that to the side. It's really just going to require you to accept a lot of sacrifices. You're going to have to go back to school. It's going to start with dental school. If you're currently a dental assistant, you got to go to dental school. And then after dental school, you got to make sure you take all the exams, which isn't a walk in the park. The CBSE, for example, that's one of the hardest exams you take. And then you go to oral surgery residency, and that's 4 to 6 years. So you're looking at another 8 to 10 years minimum of extra education. But you can do it, Tatiana. Do it. Go for it. Got to have the determination. That said, any advice for someone who's potentially looking to go in OMFS as a college sophomore, working with, it doesn't say it. Okay, I guess you're working with. Yeah, you got to get really good grades. I would suggest getting some exposure to oral surgery, in maybe a hospital setting, a private practice setting, office setting. Yeah, I would get as much exposure to the things that you might be interested as possible. I don't think people are getting enough exposure to these things. You have to observe. You got to shadow. You got to get out there. You got to work for the dentist or the surgeon or the doctor. That's the best way you're going to know what you want to do for a living, okay? It's closest you could get to it, right? I don't think we're doing enough of that. Lexi said, I think it's lagging. Oh, I'm sorry, Lex. Let me just check on the Wi-Fi. Is it my Wi-Fi? Please tell me my Wi-Fi. Yeah, guys, my Wi-Fi's up. Lexi, maybe it's your Wi-Fi. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. Steve-O said, so you went to dental school and medical school? No, I didn't go to medical school. I just went dental school, and then the 4-year oral surgery residency. In the U.S., you don't have to get your MD to be an oral surgeon, oral maxillofacial surgeon. In other countries, they're separate, or you need your MD perhaps. But no, mine's just a 4-year degree. I think it's like a steal. But even, I don't know. We need to be in the dental schools more. That's my suggestion to the future of OMFS. Tatiana Sampson said, I said that already. Ken said, number of people do you want that it took them more than one round to get into dental school? I don't know. And unfortunately, not a lot of people are honest about that. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't want to lay what they might consider failures or mistakes out in front. The majority of people, I find, do that. So you can't really take that entirely for certain. You know what I mean, Kens? So, but I do know people that applied multiple times. Jay said DAT in 2 days. Any last minute advice? Yeah, get some sleep. Make sure you have it in 2 days. So yeah, these 2 nights, I would make sure you get a solid amount of sleep. You want your mind to be sharp as a tack when you're going through those. You don't want to be getting nervous or stuck on reading comprehension, little things like that. You got to power through that. Tatiana Sampson, thank you so much. You got it, Tatiana. What's the next question? How can I help you, Tatiana? What's next? ... said, how can I get exposed to hospital OMFS and shadow? I would look at residencies or oral surgeons that are on staff at the hospitals and see if there's any way you can help or get access, or if you could shadow them in there. You got to reach out to them. And how do you reach out to them? You have to look at, you could ChatGPT it, you could Google oral surgeons on staff at that nearby hospital that you'd be interested in shadowing at. You got to go through, you got to look. Okay. Shady266 said, tell us about that. Show us your apartment video from 2 years ago. Yeah, that was Juan from That Was Epic. I was coming home from work and I came in the back door of my apartment building. I was dropping off my stuff. You could see I brought loops to work that day. I was at the VA at that rotation, but I had to run back to the hospital soon because I was on call that night. So I came home to drop everything off. My hands were full, and he was at the front door of the apartment. I could see he had like a cameraman there and some other guy. And I was like, hey, can I help you? You're looking to get someone from upstairs, yada, yada. And they're like, no, actually, can we see your apartment? And I was like, and he's like, I'll give you $200. I'm like, $200? The video you saw doesn't show this. I was like, $200? And he's like, $500? And I was like, okay, all right. Let me call my girlfriend. And then I called her to make sure that he could come up because she was working that day and she was here with her dog. And she was like, and I'm like, no, they look normal. And they were really nice. So then they came upstairs and I just showed them my tiny little micro apartment here. But it's nice. It's got a little window. I don't need a lot of space. I just I don't know. It's got a nice view. And then he paid my rent. He counted out 2,800s. I was in shock. I didn't expect that at all. I told him my rent was 2,800, and he counted 2,800s and gave it to me, and they left in like 10 minutes. And then I went back into the hospital, went to work. That's what the story is from when I showed that guy Juan, when I showed Juan my apartment. Juan's with That Was Epic. If you search for them, shout out to That Was Epic. Yeah, let's give them a shout out. That Was Epic. Juan, they were in my apartment. He was in my apartment. They do content creation and like these crazy conversations and approaching people, like random stuff. Very nice, very genuine. It was not staged. It was cool. And I still have that money, by the way. I figure I was very lucky for it to be given to me. That gives me the opportunity to pass on that luck to someone else. So I have it right. Well, maybe I shouldn't show you. Let's move on. Let's move on. Jack, thoughts on holistic dentistry? I mean, as long as they're doing their research and stuff, I mean, I think it's good. But I think a lot of that research is like saying yes or no to a bunch of things like fluoride. And, there's positives and negatives to everything. I think it's a good idea to go in that direction where we explore it more as a whole, as a profession. I don't know if it's better or worse than any other dentist or type of dentistry. You know what I'm saying? Pigskin Analyst said, how are you on the ice right now in live streaming? There's a hockey player named Brendan Gallagher. That's funny. That was a good one. And he's number 11 too, right? Or at least he was number 11 a couple years ago. I played basketball in college and I was number 11. That's funny. Moon said, do your undergrad grades affect your ability to match with a specialty after dental school? I think some medical schools, when an oral surgery residency is combined with a medical school, that medical school might ask for your undergraduate grades. Look, I think we're way past that point, and your dental school grades are going to be much more important and applicable, for that matter, to a medical school if you're applying to an oral surgery residency. They do them. Whatever. Okay, does your hospital allow shadowing? It allows externs to come in and see us, and also dental students from the nearby dental school associated with our main hospital, the private hospital. Okay, so you have to unfortunately you have to be a dental student in order to get that access to the hospital with us. And I'm so confused how you're on the ice right now playing hockey, but you're also live streaming. Shady266, so the apartment video wasn't staged. This was before your TikTok following? It was right around the beginning of my TikTok following. I think I had like 20,000 followers then. I only have 28 or whatever it is now, so it hasn't increased that much. It hasn't increased that much in about a year and a half, 2 years, actually. Yeah, a year and a half. And that was 2 years ago, so it was towards the beginning. It was around 20. But yeah. No, it wasn't staged. On7 said, is jaw clicking common? It is very common. Fortunately, it's annoying, right? It's really annoying when your jaw clicks. I mean, my jaw clicks too. Sometimes it gets locked in a little side position. You got to adjust it, get it out. But unfortunately, a percentage of the population has that. It could be from trauma when you were younger, getting hit to the face, to the jaw, to the TMJ, temporal mandibular joint. Yeah, unfortunately, when it becomes a functional deformity or serious pain, that's when I would really start to consider, just me personally, I'm talking in terms of myself, if mine was to become really painful and extreme functional deformities like locking open or locking closed, that could be even worse, then I would explore, personally, I might explore getting a surgical consultation and evaluation for my TMJ. Yeah, Jonathan said it's like holistic medicine. It sometimes works. It sometimes works. Jack said 2,800 rent. Where are you living? That sounds New York City prices. Bingo. This is Manhattan. This is Kips Bay, Manhattan. This little tiny apartment. Look, I got my one arm on the one wall, and right about there, I'm almost at that wall, and it's right behind the wall here. It's like 15 by like 10, 12 square feet, maybe 20 by 12, 15 by 12 square feet, or 10. Maybe it's only 10 square feet. It goes side to side. Yeah, very small. Very small. Bad. Apple user 434. Thoughts on $400,000 of loans? That's a lot of loans. I just reposted on Elite Dentists and Students of Dentistry today. A dentist, Dr. Gianna, I forget her last name, but she has, I think she posted like over $550,000 of debt. I could be off, but it was over $500,000 of debt. Yeah, $500,000 in debt is a lot. And look, if you know what you're going into, you know exactly what you want to be, and you love it, you're excited every single day you go into work, and you have a game plan on how to repay that, what's stopping you? You know what I mean? You got to do what you're passionate about and what you dreamed of doing, and what you still dream of doing. Hamid Madid said 70 CBSE is good. I would say a 70 CBSE is a good score. You want to get as best as you can, and if you're over that 70 hump, that's pretty good. And if you're below it, that doesn't mean you can't apply to oral surgery residencies either. What's on the rest of your application that's really going to make you stand out as an applicant? You see what I'm saying? All right, just a few more minutes, friends. 9:30. Yeah, just a few more minutes. Let's go. We're at right now 13 minutes. I can do a few more minutes. I can push it to 15, 20. Let's see how many questions come in. Let's see what we got. Caleb said, wait a minute. I recognize you from That Was Epic. That was epic. That was the tour when the guy came in and saw my apartment. Apple user 43489. Thoughts on $400,000 of loans? Yeah, well, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Pat Over said, do you think 6-year OMFS degrees are worth it specifically to bill medical insurance? No. To specifically bill medical insurance, no, because I could bill medical. I have oral surgery, however it works. I haven't looked into it yet, but I've been told that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for 4-year or 6-year oral surgery residents as far as billing. They were thinking that it would. They were saying like 20 years ago or something, but it never panned out. That's what someone told me. I don't know enough about this, but I wouldn't do it for that. John Watts, starting dental school in a couple months. Any tips? I'm pursuing OS. Well, wait. You're pursuing dental school, right? So John, let's start with dental school. Let's get that down. Let's get the grades. Then you get in clinic. You got to get the CBSE down after that, on top of all of clinic and classes, and then you have to do externships to make sure that is what you love doing. The residency experience is much different from working for an oral surgeon in a private practice setting. So you got to make sure that you're going to be able to survive that. And then go from there, okay? You could do it. It's just, it's a lot to consider. Make sure you start with dental school before you hop, skip, and jump into gunning for OMFS, it sounds like. Moon said, how is your matching process for OMFS? Yeah, you get interviews at all these schools, and then you rank the places that you interviewed at from 1 to X, right? And then you submit it. And then we had to wait a month for us to find out where we were going. It was like 4 weeks. Yeah, this is 2021. Yeah. Khan said, what's the best thing for it? Night guard, hard. Khan, for TMJ or clicking, if you're really annoyed about the clicking of it, I mean, maybe you could try a night guard. The unfortunate thing is some people, when you stick something in their mouth at night, they chew on it, right? And people who chew, or if they're grinders, right, you put a night guard in so that it puts less pressure on the joint, potentially. That's the theory behind it. But what if they chew it even more because they're used to chewing at night? You see what I'm saying? So it might backfire. That's why you just got to be careful with those things. You got to make sure you go to a TMG specialist that's going to follow you and kind of look at these things over time to make sure you're progressing in the right direction and it's not getting worse. All right. John Watts, starting dental school tips. Yep. Gotcha. Grandmama. What's up, Grandmama? Ray Mist 7. Do fillings leach plastics into your body over time? Generally, no. I mean, there's probably a case out there, a study that showed that it did, which, you know how much plastic you're ingesting every day? I wouldn't worry about that little tiny filling in your tooth. I'm worried about how much you're consuming. I mean, I was just looking at the coconut milk bottles, and usually back in the day, they had like paper lined with wax. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like a coffee cup. but now they're lining it with plastic. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, but I'm concerned about that because they're lining it with plastic on the inside instead of wax, and that's a plastic film that's up against the stuff that you're drinking, or it's water or like coconut milk in my example. So that's a lot of plastic, if you're having one of those every 2 days. At least I am. That little gallon thing. Kevin Vu 503, does class rank play a huge role in OMFS? I'm not top 10 in class. Should I just not try? No. I wait a minute. Don't get discouraged because you're not top 10 in your class. There's plenty of time. And you know what? You don't necessarily need to be top 10 in your class. You obviously want to try and be. But, for example, at a dental school like NYU that has 400 students in a class, top 10, and they're not all going for oral surgery, right? Some of them going ortho and stuff. Look, don't get bogged down by your class rank. Do as best you can. Don't compromise your personality. Don't become a snake just to try and get higher scores than your colleagues. Don't do that. Do the best you can. Get the highest scores you can. And if you do find an interest in oral surgery, make sure you get those externships in. Try and get a high CBSE score to make up for that class ranking that you might not be as happy with. And apply. All right, Kev? You got this. Let's do it. Hill 3706 WF1. I'm a patient at the dental school in Seminole, Florida. The students are amazing and do a great job. Awesome. Great. In Seminole, Florida. Cool. I didn't get to see that dental school, but that's great. User 5838. Is it a bad idea to pursue dentistry to make money? Yes, it's a bad idea. You just asked this 2 weeks ago. Guys, it's a bad idea to pursue any career path or profession solely for money. Yeah, that's not good, because if you do it for money, if you don't have a get out plan, or you didn't really think about the profession and career that much at all, yeah, you're going to be locked into it. You're going to be unhappy. You might be depressed. You can't do that. That's not good. That's not good. Lilia said, where'd Lilia go? Lilia said, can I wear my retainers at night? I get my 4 wisdom teeth. No, just leave them out. I would say just leave them out. This is not medical advice. Ask your surgeon after they take your wisdom teeth out what they would do. I would leave them out that night. Hill 3706, WF1 filed the live creator. Thanks, Hill. What's up? Bull said, what are some matching tips? Get a good interview in. Rank every school you interview at. Okay? Don't try to leave some out. I've seen bad things happen like that. Like a friend of mine ended up matching to his 16th rank, and he wasn't going to rank past 10. Could you imagine that? One of my best friends in dental school. On 7 said, thanks, doctor. You got it. Henry, I know grades are super important, but how about getting B's in some classes? Yeah, Henry, you're going to get some B's. You know what I mean? Try and stick with just A's and B's. Try not to get any C's. But A's and B's happen. That's fine. And try and get more A's than B's too. Josh G said, hi, I'm a first year and having trouble in making my incisal and gingival walls parallel for a class 3. Use the 556 per. 56 per was how I got on a straight walls 90 degrees. And then you could change the angulation with the fatter or with the fine. So now you're fine polishing it, and then you're adjusting the angulation a little bit. Give that a shot. Let me know what you think. Lisa Ellis Brinkley said, what watch are you getting? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get a watch. I got my Jack Mason Hydro Timer on today. I think it's a beauty. It is a beauty. But yeah, what watch am I getting? Maybe the Omega Speedmaster Moon Phase. I think that's awesome. Omega was the first watch that went to the moon, and the Moon Phase is beautiful. It's the watch that Joe Rogan gave Lex Fridman on the podcast. I thought that was such an amazing moment. I like them both as podcasters. If you don't know Lex Fridman, I would check him out. He has some very prominent figures. He has a very unbiased approach to looking at things. Lex Fridman's awesome. He's a great podcast. And so, yeah, Joe Rogan gave Lex Fridman that watch, and I thought it was the coolest thing, and that's the watch I want now. All right, guys, I think I got to thoughts on Endo as a specialty by Tim Hanna. Do you think it has a good future? I think it does have a good future. I do. I think Endo is a great specialty. I think it is, and I think it's a good way to save teeth many times so that you don't have to get them removed. All right, guys, 20 minutes. I got to get going. I got to get ready for tomorrow. I got a lot going on presenting at 7 a.m. All right, friends, thanks for coming on. This is TikTok Live number 60. We're at TikTok Live number 60, guys. By the way, guys, I only have 5 weeks left in residency, so I got to get every Sunday, maybe a Monday night, every week for the next 5 weeks. I think this is one of 5 weeks left. So, because I do Sunday going into the week. So this night's podcast, the TikTok Live, counts for this week. This is one of 5 left, so 4 left after this. I'll probably get one in on the weekend after, but and probably the ones after that too. But all right, guys. Thanks for coming on TikTok Live number 60. I'm giving you guys the top 5 listeners on every TikTok Live I do. It shows me who the top 5 listeners are. I give you guys a shout out in the caption on podcast, YouTube channel, Apple Music, Spotify. All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. Let's make it a great week, all right? Let's make it a strong week. All right. Love you guys.